Hi, my name is Alexis Golland, and I'm here with Holli Kulpaka, a professional wardrobe stylist based here in Chicago. So, thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Thanks for having me. We had to reschedule. We were supposed to do this last week, and I was sick, so
Me too.
we've been anticipating this for a while, so I'm so excited. Thank you so much for asking me to be a part of it.
Yeah. My first question is, what inspired you to become a professional wardrobe stylist, and how did you get into the field?
That's such a good question that I honestly have had such a hard time over the years answering myself. But I finally boiled it down to one was probably the TV shows and like the media that I was watching when I was like 8, 9, and 10 years old. I loved watching America's Next Top Model, the TV show. And then also there's the show called Ugly Betty. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but it's from like 2008, and it's based on kind of a dorky girl that gets a job at a magazine like Vogue, and it shows her entire experience as like this girl trying to pave her way in the fashion industry, and I think just that really influenced my interest of the industry.
Was it like 2000s?
Yeah, in the 2000s. That was like the first moment that I all throughout middle school and high school, I started to become interested in working in the fashion industry and going to school for fashion. And I actually went to school for fashion merchandising, which, do you know what being a buyer is?
Explain it for the viewers.
Yeah, so I wanted to initially be a clothing buyer. So say you walk into Nordstrom, all of the clothing selection that's in the store currently is selected by a buyer, multiple buyers. And my first semester of college, I quickly learned that career field has a lot to do with numbers and spreadsheets. And I'm more of the left brain creative. So I had to switch up my direction for the industry, and styling, I've always loved getting dressed and shopping, and that was just a direction that I decided to take it.
Wow. Yeah.
A lot of information there, but that's the full gist of it.
Okay.
Oh,
Great.
and I guess how I got started. My first experience doing styling, I had gotten an internship at Wilhelmina Models, which is a worldwide known modeling agency. They had a Chicago office here, and I got an internship, and my director that I was working under allowed me to start styling for men's test shoots. So when new models get signed to an agency, they essentially have no photos to be promoted with. So I would be someone that would collaborate with a photographer and a model to build out their modeling portfolio. So that was my first experience with anything in the styling industry.
And when did you get the internship?
That was junior year of college.
Wow.
So that was
so
my real first styling gig outside of styling my friends or my parents.
Was it hard to get, I know internships can be really prestigious kind of.
Sure.
Was it hard?
It was. I went to a creative school in Chicago, so there's a lot of opportunities. And connections that are fed to students, which is amazing. So obtaining that opportunity wasn't as difficult, but preparing for interviews and entering a job and an environment that I wasn't sure about was stressful for sure. But I worked with some amazing people, and I actually still work with some of the people in the industry today. So it was really important, I believe, to enjoying that experience and continuing on in my styling journey. The people that I worked with and the director that allowed me to start my styling journey, rather than just going and picking up balloons for someone's birthday or restocking the bathroom with tissues is kind of a silly intern job sometimes. But really it was just the people that I was working with that allowed me to be successful.
You mentioned you worked with personal clients and then editorial clients. Can you kind of define the difference and like how you go about each one?
Yeah, absolutely. So personal styling is way different than working for e-commerce or editorial projects. When I work with a personal client, oftentimes I'm helping them plan out their wardrobe for their work life or their wardrobe for a vacation or a special event. And that's when we're dealing with real life body types and, you know, we're looking at the weather of a certain week or day or whatever that person's lifestyle is. That's how we approach how I'll be styling them. Whereas when I'm working for an e-commerce or editorial job, a lot of that time it's a large creative process. So, you know, we're looking at styling for a company's spring drop of their dress collection, or we're looking at styling a shoe collection for a certain brand. So a lot more creativity and out of the box, like, you can like crop it, wait. A lot more creativity goes into the editorial and e-commerce process when it comes to styling and accessorizing and all of that good stuff.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so fun.
So, well, both personal and e-commerce editorial styling is creative. There's just a little bit more, you know, you're dealing with someone's day-to-day life, someone that's actually
more rules.
Yes, you're going out in public, everything has to fit perfectly and look great. When sometimes when I'm working with a brand and we're on set, you know, there's a lot of styling tricks and hacks that can make things look a little bit better than they might on that specific model. Like, you know, we might clip the arms on the back of a dress because they're too big for the model, or sometimes, you know, we're steaming a garment 5 seconds before it's getting put on set so it looks the absolute best, and that's not necessarily how that garment might translate onto someone wearing it in real life.
So you're like, it's not super accurate.
Yes, exactly.
So
I
it's
hate
harder
to say it.
for personal versus
Exactly. There's a large difference when
it
comes to what's being put out in the real world versus what's happening on a set that has a makeup artist, a clothing steamer, a photographer that's amazing with the lighting to change the color of a garment. So that's where we'll see the biggest differences.
Yeah. Can you walk us through like the process you go through when you like help a client discover their personal style?
Yeah. So a big thing comes down to obviously what is their day-to-day? What's your lifestyle? Are you a new mom? Are you going into the office every day or do you work from home? What types of clothing are you reaching for on a day-to-day basis? And that really helps us to outline where we'll define your personal styles. So, you know, if you're someone who is only going to be on Zoom and going into the office 1 day a week, but you have a large social life outside of work, we'll look at finding some key pieces that will work for your business work life, but really focus on building out that wardrobe that you can have fun with on the weekends with your friends, or, you know, kind of more of those statement pieces that you will be wearing more often than your work clothes.
Definitely. How do you balance timeless wardrobe pieces with the current fashion trends?
Okay,
that's a big thing.
This is
like micro trends.
It's a huge thing, and my number one advice is don't give in to the micro trends.
Yeah, it's hard.
But if you choose to, make sure you're not spending a fortune on those pieces. So if any of Alexis's followers here are into the fashion industry or read magazines, keep up with it. A large trend we saw last year was, I'll just give one, like micro mini skirts. And the brand Miu Miu, have you heard of it? Came out with these crazy expensive mini skirts and mini shorts and all these things that retail for a few $1,000s. So you can still achieve the same look. That was a huge brand that was hyped up around this trend, and a lot of influencers and people we see online are able to afford, or if they're not able to afford it, they're gifted it from the company to wear it. So it might look like these people are spending all this money on it, but they're not. And it's not really obtainable for the average person. So if you want to buy into a micro trend, if you're only going to wear it for a short period of time, or if it really doesn't resonate with you, don't spend more than, don't go over budget with it. It's not worth it.
Yeah.
Another tip too is if, say, you know how bows were a huge trend last year?
Yeah.
At least.
On like everything.
On everything. So maybe if you were into the bow trend, look at, will I realistically ever be re-wearing this? When will you be re-wearing it? Maybe around the holidays. Give yourself find a justification of when you might be able to re-wear the trend, and then that is maybe the indicator that you should buy into it or not.
Yeah, definitely. I'm a victim.
Or, I mean, we all are, but I think a way to include a micro trend into like pairing it with a timeless piece is maybe look into accessorizing. So, you know, with the bow trend, you could buy a cute hair bow. You don't have to go all out on the skirt that has a million bows on it, or the shirt that had bows on it. And so looking at ways to kind of bring that trend into your daily wardrobe with accessories as well.
Yeah, definitely. What unique opportunities or challenges have you encountered working in Chicago and its fashion scene?
I will say, well, Chicago's really hip and cool and has great stuff here. We're not known for our fashion scene, but it's definitely here. We have a fashion week. We have plenty of amazing people that have come out of here, like Virgil Abloh, and Aziza's another fabulous dress designer. I don't know if you've heard of her before, but there's a lot of really amazing fashion opportunities here if you know where to look for them. And I think I lucked out kind of navigating and not having too many struggles finding opportunities because I did go to school here.
Yeah.
And so we were really handed those experiences, but that doesn't mean, you know, that's how I got to my level of expertise. You know, I had to work for free. I had to work on all of these different odd jobs, steaming clothes all day and running all these errands. Really, I had an experience, my first job out of college, that got me to where I am now. That was like Devil Wears Prada.
Really?
Like assistant type experience where I was picking up. I loved my boss. I'm just giving you full transparency. I was picking up my boss's dogs and then rushing back to our styling studio to meet with our client who is spending tens of thousands of dollars on clothing and for our expertise to style. And then I was running back to pick her kids up from school and then delivering orders. So you have to work really hard to get into the industry anywhere. And I think, unfortunately, in Chicago, because there's less of those opportunities, while they're still there, you really have to be passionate and just work really hard and keep at it and stick to it. Fully stick to it. There were days that I would come home crying, but deep down inside, I knew this is the career path that I wanted to pursue, and it's paid off. And I hope to continue on to see where it goes, obviously. But it's definitely, there's a lot less opportunity here than New York or LA where, you know, you could be working for a large fashion company or one of the major stylists that need all hands on deck at all times of the year. So.
Can you share like a memorable story while styling that kind of has stuck with you or like made an impact on your life or someone else's?
Yeah, okay, well, I think with my personal side of styling, when I'm often working with women going through a career change or women that are postpartum and just had a baby and they're looking in their closet and feeling super uncomfortable, when they work with a stylist or they work with me and we're able to find clothing that they feel good in and they actually want to wear instead of wearing just their big t-shirt or their sweats, and it's really life-changing to bring them back to kind of their new reality and like making them feel excited again to get dressed and feel beautiful in their own skin. And it might seem silly, but clothing can really do that for you. It really can.
It's your identity. It's how you
It
express
is,
yourself.
absolutely. That's such a good way to put it. Your clothing is really how you're showing up to the world and how you're showing up to yourself. So I think that's a huge thing, is just finding confidence through clothing. And then I think this is such an exciting game changer for me, as well as the creative team that I worked on this project with. Last year, I had my first editorial photo shoot get published in a print magazine.
That is so cool.
And I'll put up here, but you probably can't see it. But this is the first time my name was actually.
I'll take a picture of it and put it.
Okay, yay. In print, in an actual physical copy of a magazine, a fashion magazine. It was in a Greece publication of In Style, and this, I believe, is like a life-changing thing for me, because it credits to all of the work that I've done and that I've put into this photo shoot, as well as the other creatives that worked on the shoot. Our hair artist has gotten a lot of attraction through it. The photographer we worked with on this photo shoot already is well known, but he produced another great photo shoot that got the attention from a large publication. So this was a super memorable experience for me, to have something actually published in a magazine.
Yeah, it's a dream.
It was a dream, and it's like a few page spread. So it was like really crazy to see my work come to life and just be proud of myself. So I'm excited to see what happens this year. I hope many more of these to come.
Yeah, definitely. I think it will. Okay, these aren't super on here, but just coming up. So, a lot of people my age, I know especially me, we're stressed out, like what we want to do with the future. And I know it's obviously really early, but what is some advice you would have for someone like me, kind of interested in this career or something similar, and like how to decipher what they want to do, or like just advice you'd give?
So I definitely want to emphasize that you have to be very passionate about any industry that you want to go into, but especially the fashion industry, because it is not glamorous. What is portrayed online, what we see, all of these celebrities on the red carpets, or even reading a magazine, everything looks so glitzy and glamorous, but behind the scenes, it's a lot of long hours, a lot of underpaid long hours, a lot of hard work, and it's hard. You're going to encounter people that are envious that someone else is pursuing the same career path, so that makes your work environment a lot less enjoyable. But my biggest advice is, if you know you're passionate about it, just keep at it, truly keep going, and just be confident in who you are, because it might seem that, there's hundreds or thousands of people going after the same goal, but you're your own person, you have your own talents and your own personality, and that, I believe, will get you to go the farthest in the long run, is really being true to yourself and not trying to put on a facade and act like a different person because that's what you see online and you think it's going to take you far. Really stay true to yourself, and honesty is the best policy. I think full transparency for any industry, if you're upfront and honest, I messed up, I really apologize, I'll make a note of it for next time, instead of being like, giving excuse after excuse. Just own up to it and be yourself, and that's my biggest advice. Connections as well. You never know who you're going to talk to or what connection the person that you meet might have. So never be afraid to start a conversation with someone new, and if it doesn't work out, you just had a nice conversation with a stranger, but you never know who you're talking to. So really just try and put yourself out there as much as possible.
That's definitely, throughout all these interviews, it's a reoccurring theme I'm hearing. So connections is one thing we're all trying to take into account.
And people, it's not like, if you don't live in a large city, we live in Chicago, there's a lot of people, very successful people that live here. So a connection doesn't always have to be someone in person, right? you can seek out someone on LinkedIn that is a top performer or professional in the career field you want to go into, and send them a message and just say, hey, I'm starting off new. I'm really passionate about this, and I'd love to know how you've gotten to where you are. And, you know, a lot of people won't answer, but you will get 1 or 2 or 3 people that will answer.
And what's the harm in trying?
There's no harm. There's no harm, because all you're trying to do at the end of the day is better yourself, and there are so many kind people out there, successful people that want to help other people achieve and be successful. So I actually just had a call with someone. I've had several calls with people that have reached out to me on LinkedIn about how to get into the styling industry, and 10 minutes of my day to give someone a new perspective is the least I could do. And it's kind of crazy that I'm in that position now, because I'm still reaching out to people like, you know, how'd you get this opportunity or whatnot. Like, it never stops. It's always going to continue no matter where you are.
That's so cool. People are asking you now?
Yes.
That's cool.
Yes, I mean,
that is really cool.
For a very long time, up until maybe recently, I still felt like an intern when I own my own business and I'm working on these extremely large projects with worldwide known brands. But yeah, it's just something that I have to own, and that confidence will only come more opportunities, and I think that's the best way for anyone to be. It's just own what you know you're good at and be proud of yourself, but always humble too. Yeah. Definitely be humble.
Yeah, this is good advice.
Good.
We'll do a couple,
2
more questions maybe. What advice would you give to someone looking to elevate their style on a budget, of course, because we are high schoolers. So.
Oh yeah. Well, in the case of, you know, wanting to elevate on a budget, obviously secondhand shopping, it's one of my favorite things. I sometimes prefer to go consignment shopping or thrifting, saying someone's trash is another man's treasure. I fully believe it. I found some of the coolest pieces secondhand shopping. So that's one way to really find those more expensive pieces on a budget. But another suggestion that I have to give is investing in a high quality white t-shirt or a high quality jacket. Investing in your basics that will make your other clothing honestly look more expensive and more put together. If you have a few key pieces that, you know, you can ask for Christmas, you really want like a nice wool coat or a nice pair of sneakers, like making sure that the pieces that you're investing in are things that you can wear with other outfits that will just elevate everything that you own.
Yeah.
But if you're looking to get expensive stuff on a budget, secondhand.
Consignment.
What are your favorite
ones in Chicago?
Oh, I love Elliott Consignment, which is up north.
Oh, is it in Lincoln Park?
There's one in Lincoln Park and Lakeview East, I believe. And then I love Crossroads. And there's like 3 or 4 of those. And then there's also a bunch of cool vintage shops in Wicker Park, if you like vintage jewelry. And the street that Crossroads is on, I don't know, it's Clark or something. There's a lot of cool vintage shops there. I will be honest, I don't like the full on like thrift stores in the city. Like, I don't love the Goodwill selection.
The one by us.
The one in the West Loop. It's just not my favorite. I've had more luck in the suburbs, so you could always make a fun day if anyone has a car or hop on the train and go out to the suburbs and make a little day of it. They're all over, and I found like, well, can I give a little hack for buying secondhand? So read the clothing labels. So read the care label, and if you're looking at a sweater, you want to find something that's like 100% wool or 100% cotton versus like polyester or rayon, because that's how you'll know the piece is like high quality and worth spending or buying secondhand, because that's a treasure for sure. If you're finding something that's like 100% cotton or linen or anything 100% natural fibers is definitely something I suggest investing in.
Awesome. I guess, like, what is next for you in your career? What are, like, fun projects you've been working on? And how can people, like, connect with you, like, if they want to?
Yeah. Well, a lot has happened over the last few years with my career, and it's kind of just, like, flown by the success and the trajectory that I've taken. I haven't even had many moments to look back. So I actually hit my goal for what I wanted to do in my entire career, like the first year of working in the industry. And that goal was to work with high profile clientele. And that's the type of clientele I work with on a personal basis. I work with doctors and lawyers and authors and people that are going on stage to give large presentations for their companies. So that's something I want to continue building this year, is really to continue expanding my book of personal clients, but also just stepping up the game with the companies that I'm working for, and potentially gaining some larger corporate clients, and just seeing the creative magic I can continue to make. I just started working with the brand Kohl's in Wisconsin, and that's a pretty large brand.
That is.
I'm excited to see that. That was my first job of the year. That was last week and then yesterday.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So I signed with a talent agency in the summer, and they've really helped to push my editorial and e-commerce styling. So I'm excited to continue working with them and just hopefully getting another magazine publication. That would be awesome.
Definitely can. That's so cool.
But if anyone is watching and needs help with their style, you don't have to be a crazy professional, whatever. I'm always happy to help if anyone has questions or just needs any advice. You can find me on LinkedIn or Instagram.
I'll tag you.
So yeah, Alexis will tag me, but I'm always happy to help out and give you some advice.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, definitely. I feel I was excited for this one because, like, at least for my school, this isn't super, like, promoted, if that's the right word, kind of. Like,
the career path?
Yeah, and this is a dream career, honestly. This is so fun. So, I'm glad.
Thank you for having me, and if anyone is looking to get into the fashion industry,
shoot her a text.
Yeah, send me a text. I have a lot of good connections and people that I work with in the city, and it's not just for styling. If you're looking to get into film or production or special effects makeup or anything in the creative fields, definitely reach out to Alexis or reach out to me. I am more than happy to help you and send you in the right direction, because there's a lot of cool stuff that happens here in Chicago. So
well,
thank you.
Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you
for
for
having me.
It's a really
exciting episode. Yeah.
Oh, yay. Okay, bye guys.
Bye.